Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me? Good morning. How is everybody today? Hopefully good. Had a nice weekend. I had a very nice weekend. I actually, yeah, I'm tired too. First and foremost, before we get into anything, I apologize. I'm not sure what happened with the second URL for the lecture. I actually posted that, and I went out of town on Friday overnight, and I got all these emails from everybody saying, I can't see this, and I didn't have my computer on me to check it out, so I was trying to do it all by phone and I couldn't do it. So by the time I got back Saturday, I was able to re-upload it. I'm not quite sure what happened, but oh, good. Yeah, so I'm not sure what happened because I went through the whole processing before I had even shut my computer off. So sometimes I guess that stuff happens, but I was able to fix it. And I don't know if you guys noticed in announcements I posted, because of the glitch, I gave you guys another kind of day extension. So if you were to get that, if you got that in by midnight yesterday, obviously I'm not going to mark it late, so give you some extra time there because of the oops. But it's great to see that a lot of you guys are listening to the recordings. I got a ton of emails, which made me kind of feel happy that, you know, you guys are paying attention. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's really weird. I'm not sure what's going on there. Especially through Canvas. I know I do respond to Canvas emails and emails through Outlook from time to time, depending on how you guys send me emails. So very strange. Well, do you use a different browser every time, Christina, or do you stick with like Firefox or Google Chrome? Sometimes browsers can, okay. Yeah, Chrome's a good one. Yeah, sometimes browsers can mess you up. So if you're not being able to access Canvas for some reason, just make sure you're trying it through a different browser. Maybe Firefox or Google Chrome's a good one. Safari's not such a good one because it's not a good cross-platform browser. Okay. Can anybody else see the schedule that I posted for week 3, Tara's schedule for the coach, learning coach? I guess it's the way, because I have to actually do it a little bit of a tedious way to upload it so Tabara can see it, but I haven't really heard anything else from anybody else. So I wasn't sure if it was just, yeah, I wasn't sure if it was just a few students. Are you on a Mac or a PC, Tabara? A Mac, okay. Okay. All right, so I obviously can't post it the easy way. I have to go back and reset it there. Okay. It's just a longer way to upload an image, which takes a little bit more steps, but I can definitely go ahead and do that. All right. So anyway, you guys did a great job. There are still a few of you that I have not looked at as of yet that submitted on time. So if you have not received my feedback, there's a few, like a handful of you guys that I was up pretty late last night going through some of these, and I decided to call it a night because I was getting googly-eyed, and I want to spend, you know, quality time on each one of your projects. So in the next day or so, I will definitely be getting that done. So definitely check that out. If you submitted late, obviously I didn't get to it either. So, oh, Serenity sees it? Okay. See, that's very interesting. Are you on a Mac or a PC, Serenity? Okay, and what browser are you using? Chrome. Very weird. Okay. Yep, same learning coach. This is how I see it. And I'm using Firefox, so. Okay, that's kind of what I see on my end. Yeah, so I will repost this the way that you can see it. I just have to do it in a different way. Could be, sometimes the hours change, so you kind of have to make sure you check. But yeah, what was I going to show you too? Oh, let me go back to home here. I want to see something real quick. I'm going to student view it and see if I see that any differently here. Just to see if I can see it on my end. I'm using Firefox, so I'm not using Chrome. Okay, I can see it on my end still. So it must be something weird going on. But yeah, I'll repost that so you guys can all see it. I'm glad you told me, because sometimes I won't know unless you tell me. So good. So Tabra, I will repost that. It's okay. Just do it the other way around. Okay. You're welcome. So welcome to week 3, you guys. You made it to the halfway point. Like I said, you guys, I'm pretty impressed to see your progression. There were a few of you that I was like, you still had some, spelling errors in the logo itself, which is really kind of disheartening to see. You guys don't want to misspell the name. If you misspell the logo name, that's a big no-no. So make sure you double, triple check. Yep. There is a spell check in every program, and I can show you that. And then, just kind of get somebody else to take a look at it, because, you might not catch something that somebody else sees. So just, it could be anybody. It could be somebody that you live with. Just say, hey, can you take a look at this? Let me know what you think. Obviously, if they're not a designer, they're not going to give you, the technical response, but at least they can see maybe things that you may not have seen before. Yep. Okay, so this week's going to be really, I think, an enjoyable project for all of you. Or contacts. You love these bees. Yeah, so the bees are the little sketches, the thumbnails that you guys are going to be doing. Maybe not the bees, but for your own logo, you guys are going to be creating your own personal logo. Pretty exciting. So just to reiterate, every week we have the same due dates, except for this past week because of the live lecture, or the lecture recording mishap. I kind of extended the assignment deadline to yesterday by midnight. But for the most part, everything is the same here. Yeah, I mean, Christina, if you have a small business name too, you can use that. It doesn't have to be your own personal name. Just a little recap. I'm sorry, not a little overview, not a recap. An overview of what we're going to be going over today is we're going to look at some of your examples from assignment 2 that I pulled. Kind of neat to see what everybody else was doing. We'll take a look at a video. The quiz is just a little, see what knowledge that you have in regards to things that are related to this course. Nothing that, obviously, if you don't know the answer to, it's not like going to be against you. It's just something to be aware of in certain topics. And you have another quiz for your assessment, yes. Mm-hmm. It has to be different from the first one if we already made one. Did you make one for another class, Serenity? That's okay. No, if you already made one, say you already have a logo, I would just restart. because things that you learned in this class may not be things that you applied to your logo at the time. You know, even if it's like a month ago. So go through your process steps this time and see how different. I think that'll be kind of cool to see how different it will be. Learning what you know, knowing what you know now, and learning those process steps, going through those, and just see kind of the difference. I think that'll be a fun challenge. All right, we're going to go over your discussion 3, and then your assignment 3, we'll do an overview and a demo. So let's get started here. So let's take a look at some student examples. Monogram, huh? You like that word? So like I said, I had a lot of you had really great, strong logos that I was really impressed to see you progress and, you know, take the feedback that I gave you and went forward with it. So great job for those of you who did that. I definitely have a really nice array of student examples that I can show to future classes that I teach as classes. This class has changed a lot. The projects have changed since I last taught this class. So I'm excited to have that. Okay, let me see if I can pull these up here. Here we go. Sorry guys, I kind of had this out of order. All right, and I just pulled these because I thought these were really good at where they're at. Some of them, you know, obviously still need a couple revisions, but for the most part, they hit upon everything that needed to be completed and came out with a strong logo. I have taught package design. Yep. Yep. I think I've taught, geez, I want to say over 20 courses here. I'd have to go and count them all. But, you know, it's kind of like the classes are, you know, assigned through contract every mod. So usually I don't know until a few days before, maybe a week before, what classes I'm teaching. All right, so this is one of the logos that you kind of saw in the process last week, just with some revisions. And obviously this is the pages that were given to show the presentation. Now the only thing I would suggest on this one is maybe creating some subheads to describe what you're seeing on here, just to be really crystal clear. You know, like this is the CMYK page, this is the RGB. And obviously we know what that is, what the logo would look like white on a darker background. Size options here. Another thing to pay attention to when you do downsize, just make sure your strokes are staying the same. You know, this is getting a little thicker here. But what's neat to see is how the logo does look smaller like this. Did anybody look at your logo smaller and say, whoa, that looks like it's hard to read? Hopefully not at that point, but who knows? Tabra, you said yes? Tabra, I did get your submission. I just wanted to let you know I did get that, so I will be taking a look at that shortly. Yeah, and Christina, I was basically solely grading, because you submitted 2 different client projects, and that's fine. But I honestly think that the Metropolitan one is way stronger than the other one. So if you were to show any of them, just show that one. That one's a really good. Not that the other one's bad. I like the fact that you changed it up with the fill of the mountains. I think that definitely makes it look stronger. But if you were to have to choose between the 2 and showing in a portfolio, I would choose the art gallery logo. That one came out really well. Okay, so that was one of them. This is one of the student examples. Here's another one. Great job on setting a lot of these up. I had a few of you that had some issues with presentation. You don't want to use elements that are going to take away from what you're really truly looking at, the importance of the logo information. And some of you use some elements presentation-wise that kind of took away from that. So you want to keep it simple. You want to keep it cohesive, but you don't want to make it distracting so the person's not really truly looking at, or it's making it harder to view what's on each sheet. So starting off with the original logo, and how much better are your logo marks than the original? I mean, look at the comparison here, this one versus this one. Major difference. Now, the only thing I would say here is, you know, the Metropolitan, the type is shifting a little bit. So this isn't quite centered. This one is a little bit more centered. So make sure nothing really shifts or changes in your logo. It should look the exact same way. The only thing that's changing is color. Okay, so just kind of be mindful of that. But, you know, definitely a good graphic logo here, has the subheads, the color codes. This one, you know, obviously is going to have a little bit of visibility issues there when it gets smaller. So do you guys know that you can show your logo in a different way if it gets really small like that, as a 1-inch logo? Yeah, exactly, Christina. So let's say it works in the 6-inch and the 3-inch, but what if it's not working in the 1-inch? Is there anything that this designer can do differently? For the 1-inch, there is something, and I didn't mention this before. Pen strokes. The page labels, that's just the title that, you know, if you definitely needed the title page on the very beginning. I was just kind of saying, you know, it would be nice to have the subheads on each one too. Okay, so there are instances where, you know, the logo, it works larger, but when it gets smaller, it doesn't work. So there are instances where you can change that logo up just if you use smaller. So for instance, it would look like this any other way, but if you use it smaller, and this is where you would specify in a brand book, if you use it smaller, you can take the word out and maybe place it next to it and make it a little bit larger. Just kind of reorient certain aspects. Now this one in particular is going to be a little harder to do because the way that this is created, if you pull the name out, it's going to lose a lot of the dramatic effect here. So maybe in this instance, if that were the case, you might want to specify in your brand book or to the client that you don't want to go, you know, the logo should not be applied at this particular size. You know, at that point you would say, you know, you would test it out and say, okay, is 2 inches, 3 inches definitely works, but is 2 inches maybe the minimum? You know, can you view it in 2 inches? And if that's the case, then say, do not use this less than 2 inches, you know, in your brand book, if you do a brand book, or if you talk to the client, just say this is going to be hard to read if you used smaller than 2 inches. And that's something you and your client can definitely discuss too. But, oh, okay, Christina. I think that's one of those robocalls. Sorry about that. Yeah, exactly. So there's different ways that you can handle that. Either you can say a restriction of you can't use this smaller than a certain person, you know, size, or if the logo you're able to kind of pull out certain elements and make them bigger and use it and show it in a different way. The thing that you would need to do is just make sure the client is okay with that, how that logo would look in that size. And then if you had a brand book, you would show how to use that in that particular size. So you would show the original, and then you would show, if you use this smaller, this is how it should look. So almost like 2 different variations of it. And that way, you know, it's crystal clear on how to use that if it's used smaller, or, you know, how not to use it if, you know, if somebody uses it smaller, you know, it might not read, so that's not a good thing. So you're kind of setting those rules in the brand book. but you can also kind of be very clear to the client about it too. Just being on the same page is good so that they understand. And you may not use it more than less than 1 inch, you know, in that regards either. Okay, here's another one, Christina. This is the one that you did. We worked together on this, kind of getting that name kind of unified a little bit better with the mark. Excuse me. And I think this came out great because, oh, look at that. I like the way that you balance that white. I think that works really well. I love that it's on a diagonal, because do you know what a diagonal shaped logo or any type of element gives to a layout or kind of gives to that logo? Variety, yeah. It gives movement, right? Because it's not balanced. Yeah, so it's not balanced, right? It's asymmetrical almost, and it's not balanced. So, you know, typically when you design for a very youthful audience, or maybe something a different kind of unconventional client, which would be this one, you could do something like this, you know, giving it energy, giving it movement, making it look more dynamic. So that's why this works really well. It makes it look uneven in the darks. Yeah, let me see here. You know what you could do for the black and white one? Let me see here. Yeah, I think that looks good. You're talking about this one? The unevenness? The top of the box doesn't look straight. My box does not look straight. This one? Or this one? I think they look good. I think it's something, I think maybe your googly eyes. You're looking at this too much. Yeah. No, I think that came out good. Yep. And how different it is from a CMYK to an RGB print web. Too much coffee. Here you go. Great job though overall. I love to see that the progression of that looks great. Okay, here's another one. Good job. This is the Central Park one. The only thing I would say on this one, I love the mark. The monogram looks great with that. It's like it's a combination mark with a monogram. Just be careful. See how that jumps a little bit, the subhead. Just make sure it's in the same position. The software solution jumps up whenever it gets to the gray version. Here, the only thing I wish color combination would have been a little bit different here, just because this reminds me of Christmas, the red and the green. So maybe just exploring maybe a darker green for the red part, or a lighter green, kind of maybe more of a neutral with I'm sorry, monochromatic kind of green for the P, going well with that gray in that text. But for the most part, very strong mark, especially when it's on a dark background here, very, very strong. And I can see that monogram logo being kind of placed separately too in possible scenarios. There we go. All right, same thing with the book too. I'm not sure where the pink came from, but I would probably maybe change this to even black, just so, you know, the pink, it kind of throws me off on what this, you know, how it connects with the brand. You want to keep things cohesive. It doesn't have to be the same, you know, colors as the logo, although that would be nice too. It could just be neutral, like a black or something like that. But the pink, I'm not quite sure if that's working. Just something small there in presentation purposes. Yeah. Here's another one, which I showed you last week, and the G was missing in this one, and I had suggested adding the G in there just to kind of keep it clear. you know, the whole name of the gallery. The only thing I probably would add in here is just a little subhead of the full name and have art gallery. And like say the whole name, Metropolitan Art Gallery, just right below the word gallery, just smaller, so that people know what this actually represents. Because MAG, what would you, I wouldn't know what that would stand for unless I saw the name underneath it. But for the most part, this came out really nice. I like the color combination here. Mag's Gallery. Yeah, make it more clear. Yeah, but very interesting concept. I like the see-through letters there. Like I said, the outline letters make it very different looking, and it pops on the darker colors, which is nice. A few suggestions there. Good job. This is another Metropolitan one that I think I showed you in the works last week. Here's the black and white. Yeah, very simple. Here is an example of a monochromatic color scheme that I was talking about with the other one. You know, doing like a two different greens possibly instead of a green and a red. Yep, very simple. Really pops on that dark color, black. Even in the color, very simple. And again, I can see how this M can be placed in different ways too. So variation of this logo is definitely doable. And it's versatile. One more here. This is the black and white logo for Metropolitan. A lot of you guys did the Metropolitan, so that's kind of a lot of examples to show you here. A nice color combination that's more neutral, but pops. I like how the M is in that same color, kind of draws your eye right to the beginning of the word. It's like a focal point. Another thing here is maybe brightening up the art gallery so it's not so dark. That's the only criticism I would give here. Just, you know, give it a, I don't know, 15, 20% black instead of, this looks more like an 80% black. So it's readable. Yep, especially, you know, when you do shades in print, so like say you do like a 80%, sorry guys, if you do an 80% black and you go to print it, it's gonna probably print a little darker than that 80%. So I would definitely, you know, do 10 or 15% for this if it's, you know, gonna be on a darker background. I don't know why it is, but transparent, you know, screen back colors do typically print a little darker. Something that I've learned throughout the time. And it really depends on what, you know, paper that you're using too. Seeing it on screen, it's gonna show as is, but when you print it, that's where you can fall into some issues there. Good job. Overall, great job, you guys. If I didn't show yours, doesn't mean that you didn't do a good job. It's just I threw a whole bunch together just to show you guys what, you know, your fellow peers' work looks like, so that, you know, you can really kind of cross-check it with your work. And if you need to kind of elevate your work based on that, be inspired by that. Elevate it. Yep. Amazing job. I had some, like I said, I have all of those examples. I have more than 3. I had, just pulling all of those examples very quickly, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's really good. 6 really strong projects. I still have more to grade, and some of you guys submitted late. So like I said, there's definitely more out there. It's just what I picked today. So yeah, Tabra, I just saw that you submitted yours. So I'll be getting to that soon here. Any questions about anything that we did in assignment 2 or last week, the last 2 weeks? And Tabra, we can take a look at yours on Wednesday if you wish, once I get through the rest of the grading. Oh, yeah, you wish, right? Replace the quiz with another logo design. That'd be nice. Christina, don't be so scared about those quizzes. You're going to do great. Okay, I'm going to say you have no questions here, so I'm going to go forward. I wanted to show you guys just this really interesting video. It's only about 5 or 6 minutes. It's about the art of logo design. Off Book has created this off of PBS. It's kind of an inspirational video just to take a look at the art of logo design. You guys are going to be starting a new project, so I thought this would be very inspirational for you guys. So let's go ahead and take a look at this, and then we can talk about it once it's over here.
A logo is an extension of who you are or what you do.
There has to be a reason for it. It should be something that someone is drawn to.
A successful logo can almost say nothing. We think of a logo as something that can hold everything.
It's informed and reinforced by the things that we see every day, and it's important to acknowledge that entire invisible vocabulary.
Logos go back to deep antiquity. It was a single image of something that was used as an expression of the individual. They represented a thought, an idea, or a product, perhaps. Aristocracy, for example, would have shields, and those are basically complex logos. And not everybody was literate, so pictorial means were ways of getting around that illiteracy. In ancient Rome, you'll find mosaics, and those mosaics are pictures of tradesmen. So you'd see an elephant, which would mean somebody has been to Africa, or you'd see dolphins, which means somebody's probably dealing in fish. So all of these things indicated who the merchant was. And I think that's the beginning of the logo. Logos increased exponentially as commerce increased, industry increased, as technology increased, and there was more and more competition. Logos have gone from being very Victorian looking to very modern looking, meaning they're more economical. So logo designers have to have a sense of what the company wants its personality to be. And then it manufactures this mask. And the logo is essentially a mask. It's an identifier, but it's also something that stands in for who you are.
Great logo is memorable, it's appropriate to the brand, and it's simple so it can work everywhere and look the same in every situation. So the first thing is simplicity. And in today's media realities, it means if it could be as tiny as 16 by 16 pixels to work as a fave icon. And for big signs and the size of buildings, that's tremendous. The second thing is that it would be appropriate in the character and the feeling. If you look at the Smithsonian Sun and you say, is that appropriate for an institution that has all these different galleries and museums? And then you start thinking, okay, does it look too corporate? No, it doesn't. Does it look too commercial? No, it doesn't. That is kind of what we ask ourselves when we look at a mark and say, is this right for them? And then the last thing, it should be memorable. And often it's something awkward. Often it's something that throws off the balance. And a good example is Mobile. It was done by Tom Geismar, my partner. He designed these letters that are based on geometry, and the simple change of the O to red made it just burn into your mind. When a design fulfills these parameters, with time it will build equity and it will build recognition. And we're looking for something that will look fresh for a long time.
Logo design is not like math. 1 + 1 = 2, but blue plus square, you don't know what it's going to equal until you get in there and start doing it. I like to have one idea that I really believe in and the client really believes in, and I like to iterate the hell out of it. For example, in the Off Book project, we probably ended up making 40 different versions of the logo before we ended up with the final set. Starting out, I took all these little pieces of paper and I printed the words Off Book on it and just folded it into different shapes. It was interesting because you have this very ordered system of type. It's always in a grid, but then where you had the bend in the paper, it was this interesting little interruption. And so I brought these printouts into my scanner and started emulating that little interruption and sort of move it or wiggle it. And so the resulting image would have these different lines and distortions in it. And once I had all of these varieties of shapes, we were able to look at them and assess them and try to figure out which ones seemed the most interesting and pleasing. And the process from there was just a process of choosing colors, choosing different transparency levels and relationships between the different elements. And it was just a matter of refining it. And so this seemed like a perfect opportunity to reference this larger metaphor that Off-Book is creating about non-traditional fringe culture and art. The victory of getting the idea and then the victory of having something physical that represents the idea. Those are two very good ones.
Logo design should be timeless. The classic thing is Coca-Cola. We know that script, and that script really came out of the 1890s, but it's such a part of our culture that it probably always will be contemporary. Back in 1975, I took Gutenberg Bible lettering and made it look like a car mark, put a bevel on it, and it looked very sinister with an album I'd done for Blue Oyster Cult. So when I was asked to do the AC/DC logo, one of the versions I came up with was based on that Blue Oyster Cult lettering. And it kind of became the cliche for the heavy metal thing. When I use the word cliche, I'm really thinking of it more in terms of appropriateness. It could be just obvious that it's just the right thing. There's nothing wrong with that. Now it just is part of our culture. If a logo has been working and is recognizable and a company has spent millions of dollars to promote it, there's probably very little reason to redesign that logo. It is a fashion business. There are styles that change and typography that changes and images that change. But what you want is you want your audience to see this and it will remind you of that entity. That's when a logo works. That's when it becomes timeless.
We need the logos so that people will be cued into who we are and what we do.
The world has evolved, the technology has evolved, but in fact, our approach has been constant.
It should be simple, it should be well drawn, and should be interesting.
The logo can't express everything, but it should definitely express the thing that's the most important, the thing that needs to be expressed.
All right, guys, what did you think about that? Some big hitters on who was speaking in those videos, some designers. Pretty inspirational, I think. Pretty cool to see all those keywords that we talked about too. What makes a logo work, right? Simple, memorable, timeless, appropriate, versatile, appropriate. Yep, good, awesome. Yeah, so you know, thinking about this, what about you? And we're gonna be going over this in your assignment soon here after the discussion. You know, you're gonna be really thinking about what makes you who you are as a designer. You know, what can you show in your logo that kind of is your own style, kind of, you know, in a unique way. Yep, exactly. And what's really cool about that, Christina, is she did it without going straight to the computer first. You know, maybe the print was done, but then she went back to printing it out and playing with almost like a mixed media thing. So don't limit yourself to, you know, only using the computer. I've done like logos in the beginning processes, not touching the computer at all, and you know, kind of playing with different media, like mixed medias, like watercolor and paint, you know, things like that, if it calls for it. It's some interesting things. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Okay. Let's see. All right, I'm going to do a quick quiz here, and then we're going to take a 5-minute break and go over your discussion and your assignment. This is quiz stuff that's just relatable to what we've been kind of, you know, obviously it's relatable to this course. Nothing that you possibly had sources to. So just kind of make your own, choose your own best answer that you think is right for these questions. And just go ahead and type it in the chat area there. Okay, blank icons are simple representations of the structure of subject matter. Metaphoric, symbolic, or diagrammatic. Exactly, Christina, yep. Oh, diagrammatic. See, this is things that you probably have not learned about yet, but we're going to go over it anyway just to, you know, give you a wide range of terminology here. It's okay. It was a good guess. Diagrammatic. Let me see here. In regards to the logos that we're talking about. So diagrammatic symbols for icons. And I'll show you here in a second. If you do like a quick image search online, this is kind of what comes up with that. So they're simple representations of the structure of a subject matter. This is kind of what that is. Sometimes these can be part of a logo too. There you go, Christine. Christina, that's funny. All right, good guess. All right, like I said, this is just pure kind of the best answer that you guys think. Educated guesses here. Okay, that was a little tricky. How about this one? Blank icons are abstract images that have no clear relationship to the subject. Metaphoric, symbolic, or diagrammatic. Okay, take your best guess here. Okay, she said symbolic, good job. Symbolic icons. And let me show you real quick what that would look like. It's okay. When you talk about symbols, they're more abstract, right? So symbols like this. This is kind of what they're talking about. They're kind of hard to see. Here we go. Almost like a favicon, I guess. A favicon is what you see on like a smartphone, like the buttons that are little icons that represent the application. Yep, or glyphs. Yep, could be glyphs too. Good. What type of logo is this? We kind of talked about this the last time we met up. Is this monogram, symbol, or word mark? Yep, good job, you guys. Word mark. That's because it's taking just the name of the brand and just using the typeface for that. Okay, good job. How about this one? Blank icons based on conceptual relationships, metaphoric, symbolic, or diagrammatic. Mm-hmm. You got it. The last one, right? Metaphor. So like think about a metaphor. It's based on conceptual relationships. Good job. Okay, what is the first step of the design process before designing a logo? Research, design brief, or analysis? What do you guys think the best answer here is? Process of elimination. There you go. Okay. Good job. Yay, good job. So part of that design brief too is getting that information from the client, kind of what you guys start off with every project. Excellent. Good job. All right, so just a few things to go over here. We're going to go over a couple other things before we get started with the assignment. I'm going to take a quick break, and then we're going to get back to your discussion. and then we'll go right into your assignment overview. Does that sound good? Give you guys a little quick break here. All right. I'll see you guys back here in about 5 minutes. All right, can you guys hear me? I was just looking at the chat there. Tabra, you brought up about the Zoom room. I actually just downloaded an app. There's apps that you can get. So if you have a smartphone, there's a Zoom app that you can download as well and just do it on your phone, which is kind of cool. Very, very cool. Well, I think it's for any smartphone, but I have an iPhone, so. Just thought I'd suggest that. I just downloaded that and checked that out over the weekend, so. Thought I'd share that with you if you didn't know. Okay, let's get started here. Your discussion 3. Your discussion 3 is going over designing a cohesive digital identity. So I'm going to actually read through this because part of this is part of the discussion too. So I'm going to go through the background here. Because we live in an increasingly interconnected digital world, and it is assumed clients need a web presence, it is no longer enough to design a single logo, business card, etc. Rather, we must also be aware of how our designs can seamlessly translate into a digital environment. A digital identity often refers to how one is perceived on the internet. From websites to social media to professional networking sites, it's important to intentionally design and present a digital identity that is cohesive. As designers, because we help establish the visual identity of our clients, we also play a key role in helping our clients establish their own digital identities. For example, when visiting a company website with many pinks, reds, and yellows, viewers will feel the company has an upbeat, energetic digital identity. Conversely, when visiting a company website with many blues and grays, viewers will feel the company has a more formal corporate identity. Though it may not initially be the scope of a logo design or redesign project, it is worthwhile to discuss how you, as a designer, can help a client consider and implement visuals in such a way as to best develop and maintain their digital identity across diverse digital platforms. Things to consider when designing are how the color scheme and overall logo message will carry over from the website to social media avatars, cover banners, and graphics. Oh, I lost you guys. Sure what happened here. Give me 1 second. I got kicked out of our, I got kicked out of Canvas here. All of a sudden. That was really weird. Okay, very strange. Let's try this again. Not sure what the heck went on there, but okay. Sometimes that happens, I guess, right? Can you hear me? Yeah, I got kicked out of Canvas for some reason. Can you see me? Can you see the discussion 3? Guess no, maybe so. Okay, good. Yeah, very strange. I don't know what happened there. Okay, let's zoom back in here. Okay, so things to consider when designing are how the color scheme and overall message will carry over from the website to social media avatars, cover banners, and graphics. How the perception of the logo will change from a large desktop computer screen to a small held hand mobile device. How color perception shifts when color moves from being seen on a printed page to being seen on a screen. how type perception shifts when type moves from being seen on a printed page to being seen on a screen. So it's all about accessibility and how that transfers from print to digital, kind of keeping that in your mind and being more aware of that when creating these pieces. So for this discussion, you're going to imagine a freelance writer looking for help designing a logo has approached you. They would like you to use the logo across many diverse digital platforms, including a personal website, a personal blog, and several different social media accounts. They are looking for your guidance and what type of logo design might work best and how to create a unified message across so many different digital platforms. They have never heard of the concept of a digital identity, but are very open to guidance and learning from you. In approaching this task, how would you explain the concept of digital identity to them? Why is a cohesive digital identity important, and how might it help their freelance career? In approaching the design of their logo, what considerations must you make to ensure that you are creating a consistent look and feel across all platforms? Do you think it would be beneficial to steer them towards a certain type of logo, so all typographic, all symbols, for example, or a certain logo orientation, vertical, horizontal, etc.? So for your citation, you might use articles that show examples of creative social media design solutions. You can also find articles from experts that suggest the value of using a cohesive digital identity to build trust. Does anybody have any questions about that? Let's see here, I can do a Google search here of some cohesive digital identities. Okay. Cohesive digital logo. We'll do logo design example. Trying to find some examples here for you guys. So it's the idea that the shape of it, think about all the different like web banner ads, think about Facebook, think about Instagram, all of those different platforms of social media, and then also different sizes for web ads. The online presence is what we're talking about. That the freelance writer is looking for you to design them a logo. So think about the shape of the logo. What would work best? Maybe a monogram, maybe a word mark. Whenever you decide to research about all of these different types of logos, look at all the pros and cons of each type of logo. And then choose one that you think would best be representative for this particular purpose, because not every logo is right for every type of project either. Yeah. But explain why you would choose that specific logo. Say if you went with a word mark, why would you go with that versus all the other ones? Yep. And also explain how you would tell the client you know, you're going to be explaining the concept of what digital identity is to them. There you go, in my gut. So you're going to want to be able to say it in a way that they understand it. You know what I mean? So just kind of explain this is something that has to be versatile in the media, digital media realm of has to be cohesive and pretty much look the same across the board and have a good visual digital presence. You know, it's going to be readable, obviously. So think about all like we actually discussed this too before about all the pros and cons of different types of word marks. And as we go forward here, this also might help explain some of the different type of word marks. And also we think about this for your logos that you're going to be designing for your assignment too. Yeah, exactly. Layman terms. So monogram logo. Do you know what a monogram logo is? Would this be best for this particular client? Trying to think about this. Single letter names. Yep. So they're often made by combining the initials of an individual or company used as recognizable symbols or logos. This could be something that could be used for this particular project. Why or why not? Yeah, that. Why would you choose that over the other ones if that's the case? Monograms are often made by combining these letters you can see here. Typically, when they are used in this way, the name is spelled somewhere, obviously to clarify what the company is or what this brand is. Here is, so approaching the project that you guys are approaching, this is kind of my later sketches. I've done these a while ago, so they're kind of older. There you go. You might want to do 3 different sketches for monograms for your logo. That's for your assignment 3. So here I am doing 6 sketches of my initials in a monogram style. So definitely do the process steps here and do your sketches. Try out a monogram logo for your logo. You have the symbol logo. So what is a symbol logo? Do you guys know what a symbol logo is? We talked about this before. Yep. First 2 weeks. It's the same process steps, just only for you. So you're going to be the client. Represents the business. Yeah. Well, I hope so. Good guess. So it's one, a symbol is one. I know it's hard to explain in your own words sometimes very quickly, so I'm just going to give this to you. So it's a complete shape described in minimal geometric curves associated with one single thought, identity, meaning, commonly used among the specific groups of people, which remains equally visible at each zoom scale level without losing any of its parts. Ghostbusters. Would this be appropriate for this particular assignment on your discussion, you think? Probably not, right? Well, the idea that it's just a symbol and no words with it, that's the issue there. If it was a combination mark, maybe. But you have to be very recognizable and established for this to work. Yeah, so that would be one thing that I'd definitely say, probably wouldn't go with just a symbol. But, kind of play around with it if you are, thinking about this for yours. What I would do is a combination mark, maybe work on the symbol separately and then add your name with it, and that's a combination mark. Doesn't mean that it will never get there. It could be very recognizable in the future and then, evolve from there. A word mark logo. Do you guys know what a word mark logo is? Or remember? Yep. Good. It could also be known as a word, like separately, word mark or logo type. So if you hear that, that's what that means. It's usually a distinct text-only typographic treatment of the name of a company, institution, or product name used for the purposes of identification and branding. Would this be something that you think that would be appropriate for this particular client in your discussion? Maybe, maybe not. Think about the pros and cons of all of these too. Do you guys remember what the con for a word mark would be? No, not so much blurry, but maybe not so much creative, right? Maybe more of the, yeah. No, it's not always true, but you know, it is the name. But you know, try some things with that with your word mark and your name. Try kind of using just typography to represent your logo. So sketch some things out based on each of these marks, just for assignment 3, like I showed here. So I wanted to go over, I just wanted to go over that because, hold on one second, guys. I just stopped sharing. And now I can't find, there we go, my desktop. There we go. Because this definitely will help you decide, you know, which one that you want to go for. And remember who the client is, a freelance writer, and they're looking for a digital identity. That's right, Christina, the burning image of, or is that subliminal messages there? Any questions about that discussion? We got it for the most part. So it's just kind of being more aware of what makes a digital brand identity, how you would, you know, choose which word mark would be best, which logo mark would be best for the client. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead. Here you go. With the ears. All right, so I know some of you guys kind of got started with this, are excited. I'm going to go over the background here since it's somewhat short and follows along with your prompt, and then we'll see if you have any questions. As a professional designer, others will often look to you and hire you to create a logo and overall visual identity for them. Though excelling at this work is important because it allows you to have a sustainable career, it is important to occasionally turn on your professional design eye on yourself, designing or redesigning your own personal logo, and ensuring your own digital identity is as cohesive and effective as possible. When considering the design of your own logo, it is important to first identify your own unique design story and the elements that set you apart from all the other designers in the world. This goes beyond just your favorite color or font to uncover the larger reasons you were drawn to design and your unique personalities. The following 3 questions can help you discover what makes you unique and inspire you as you design your own personal logo. Why am I a designer? Why do I believe design is important? And what is the thing that makes me unique and someone should hire me before the guy down the street? Kind of interesting things to think about. Almost like your mission statement. If you guys don't have a mission statement, you might want to write one now. This might help you kind of answer these questions. Though the answers to these questions don't seem to have an immediate visual translation to how you will design, with some critical thinking, they will enable you to build a strong foundation that is uniquely yours. For example, if you're a designer because you believe that beautiful ornamental design raises everyone's standards of living, then perhaps your personal logo will feature a flourish or a scrolling element. If you believe design is important because it enables complex ideas and topics to be clearly represented to a wider audience, your personal logo might use a clean sans serif typeface as Avenir or Myriad. If the thing that makes you unique is your love of illustration, your personal logo might contain a simple line drawing you've generated or some hand-lettered type. So your prompt, so project overview. For the next 2 weeks of this class, you will be designing a logo for yourself. This week, you will begin the preliminary design process and idea generation. In week 4, you will finalize the logo and show it in use within a corporate identity structure. Week 3 project. This week, you'll begin the preliminary design process and idea generation for your own logo. This should be very familiar as it is very similar to the steps you did for week 1 and 2 redesign project. This one goes into more depth because it is a new company, yours, that you are designing for. So assignment instructions, number 1, first spend time reflecting on the 3 questions outlined in the background above and write down your answers. Though it is tempting to immediately jump onto the computer and begin trying things, resist the urge and spend at least 10 to 20 minutes reflecting on your why, your own why behind your choice to be designer. Number 2, when you feel ready, complete 15 preliminary black and white sketches of possible logo concepts, considering possible font choices, imagery ideas, and even what name you would use. So it doesn't have to be your name. It could be, a name that is representative of a company that you would have. And it has to be design related. Once you have completed your 15 sketches, choose 3 directions you feel are most promising. So take 3 of those out of the 15 and create a further refined black and white version of each of these logos on the computer. Okay, so sketches for the number 2, so you have to do sketches. Number 3, you have to do 3 roughs from those sketches, design roughs. Submission instructions. Number 1, when you have completed all parts of the assignment, save your work as a multi-page PDF that includes the following. Number 1, the answers to the 3 questions. So you have to have this written out 150 word minimum. This can be in Word or whatever, and save it out as a PDF. Minimum of 15 sketches. And I would say put them on 1 page and number them like we did before. So it's easy to just take a look at all together instead of it being like, a 20-page PDF that you're sending. And number 3, the 3 refined best logo directions from your sketches in black and white. When you're done, you're going to combine all these into 1 PDF and you're going to name it as such for grading. Any questions about that? Anything that you write should be APA formatted unless it says it shouldn't be. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to have a citation. Yep. So go back up of this prompt. Oh, the question, sorry. So why am I a designer? Why do I believe design is important? Be real specific. Let's see if I can find my mission statement. Mission statement. I know I have one somewhere. All right, let me see if I can open up a past student's mission statement here. No, that's not really going to show it. I thought I had a mission statement here, but let me see. We'll have to do some digging here. I don't want to take too much time looking. Mission statements. Do you guys know what is involved in mission statements? And they could be smaller goals. Yes, how to write a mission statement. And this is a how design article here. This is probably a good one. All right, so let's see. Expertise, sustainability, how to write a mission statement. So you can actually, you know, take it from here and just revise this, you know. But this is an example. I'm going to give you the link here. You can kind of read through this. But it doesn't, you know, put in there about you. This is talking about an organization, which it can be an organization too, but just talk about your own mission statement too. Let me see. I might have an example here on LinkedIn. Let me check. Mine's a little bit more personal on how I wrote mine. So that's why I want to show you here real quick if I can bring it up. But it's basically what's important to you as a person and as a designer. What's your mission as a designer? Give me 1 second, you guys. Let me pull this up. Okay, so this is a very short mission statement that's on my LinkedIn here that I have in my About page, and then kind of gives a little bit more of my background information here. But I wrote in here, my life's journey is to inspire and be inspired, to be happy, positive, patient, and compassionate, to remain a free spirit who is uninhibited by restraints, while keeping an open mind to new thoughts and ideas around me in order to give hope and inspiration to others in need. So, you know, something like that is a little bit more personal than more, you know, like a business, but it kind of lends to itself on the business part as well. Exactly. Yep. So it can be a little bit more personal like that. It doesn't have to be so corporate, you know, the wording doesn't have to be so corporate in how you form what you are explaining as yourself as a designer. It can be more free and open. Does that make sense? Maybe in your, you know, maybe your mission is to give back to, you know, give back, design for good, for instance, keeping in mind how design impacts society, you know, being more of a responsible designer. So those things you can definitely think about. And then do your sketches. The sketches should be, let me bring up some. I showed you some of my sketches when I was looking at the different word marks, different marks to kind of play around with. Hold on, you guys. I kind of start your design process. The design process is, again, and I know you guys saw these slides before, but this is actually geared towards this project, so I'm going to show you it again. Exactly, there you go. Howard Child. Okay, so you might want to refine the problem, what you're doing, and here I am refining. My problem is I am an up-and-coming recognizable logo designer. I need to create a logo to brand myself. Need to be simple, unique, versatile, memorable, appropriate. Then objectives need to stand out but be professional. Need to look fresh but established. Need to look and feel like a recognizable logo designer. Who is the target audience? Think about those things. Who are you going to be aiming your marketing towards? There's some things to think about. Target audience, more about that. Medium to large companies, boutiques, corporate, manufacturers, retail, kind of nonprofit organization, and me as designers. Deliverables for this instance, it would be your 15 sketches and 3 rough drafts, along with your almost like a mission statement, answering your questions, 150 words. You might want to start out with a word list. If you were to describe yourself as a designer, what words would come into your mind? Here I am kind of, you know, writing these words on the left-hand side and then looking those up in the thesaurus even more, thinking of extra words that would pop out. So some of the words that I highlighted are original, forward, authenticated, individual, grown, dynamic, opening, bold, fresh, strong, boost, gain. So all these words can definitely help you choose different elements within your logo. Typeface, for example, color, shape, direct. And then you go into your sketches. So this is stuff that, you need to show here. Graceful, peaceful, strong, there you go. Write those words out, and then you'll find very similar things that relate to that with the design elements, whether it be color, typeface, shape, style. Here I am kind of sketching out some different concepts, some word marks, some monogram logos based on BIS design. You might want to highlight ones that you like and kind of go forward with that. These are kind of looser sketches, and they go into tighter sketches. And as I go forward here, you only have to do 15 sketches for the first round and then 3 rough designs. So here I am kind of plugging away at different shapes and looks. The typeface is a little hard to figure out here, but you kind of get a general idea of, okay, do I want to use a script? Do I want to use a script with a sans serif? Do I want to, kind of think about the general parts in regards to that. And then when you're, kind of pushing past the sketch phase, you're going to do the rough drafts. The rough drafts will be 3 of the stronger logos in black and white. Feel free to, if you can, print it at home, see what it looks like. Yep. Oops, sorry. Ouch. Okay. I did have design examples here of students that, and let me show you here real quick. First, before I even do that, I'm going to show you a way that you can kind of play around with this. I did sketches, as you saw. So my monogram logo would be based off of my sketches that I did. And I could go into Illustrator at this point. Well, I'm not either. I'm not a good sketcher either, but this is for you. I do want to see it, obviously, but this is for you to get your ideas out. So the monogram logo that I did, let me see if I can actually find my examples here. Hold on, guys. And you don't have to do it this way. This is just something I'm suggesting, to kind of try different marks, just experiment. Okay, hold on one second. Let me find this. I thought I had this out, and I did, and then I closed it. So this is kind of where I'm scrambling here. All right, so I created 3 different marks here based on my sketches that I was showing you just previously on the slides. I don't know why this is coming up here. So this is one of them that's based on the sketches that I just showed you. Yeah, on the tablet. I never really used it. I use it very rarely, the tablet, certain places. But I don't have one myself. So this is kind of me playing around with a different monogram logo, taking the A and the B. And let me show you my sketches for this. I guess I don't have anything that looks somewhat similar. This is probably close to what I was trying to sketch out here, but this would be the sketches closing in on this shape with the A and the B coming together. This one I kind of tried too, but for this particular word mark, I went with just trying this shape out here. And this would be the triangle and the circle will be representative very abstractly of my A and the B kind of coming together. I know you can't see the B real good, but. All right, the next symbol that I was kind of playing around with was just a symbol. It's very abstract. That goes with some of my keywords that I wanted to express as myself as a designer, more free, progressive. So you can see those elements are representative of that. Great. Now I would definitely add my name to this. It's just exploring different symbols as well. So this would be like a word mark. And again, these are all the adjectives. Remember the adjectives I gave you? This is all reflective of all those adjectives that I highlighted. Now this is a word mark I played with that I thought was kind of cool. And it's using the little, we call those chicken lips encoding. And that's part of a coding, the coding, web coding type of a process there. And it's added to the word mark. So I'm using my last name, but also the A of my name too, the shape of it with that same coding look. So some things that you can play around with. You don't have to do it in this way. This is just some of the projects that we did later, way before this class projects changed. So I wanted to show you some student examples that reflect this. Not that, sorry. So that you can explore, maybe you want to do some of these ideas. Coding and web design. Yep. Yep. Depends on like what type of program that you're using. But yeah, there's typically like Dreamweaver you can code in Dreamweaver, but could be a little bit more limiting than other web programs. Okay, so this is a student that did their letters. Look at this as letters and their name. Playing around with it. Now again, these are the design roughs. These aren't sketches. A symbol. So you can, play around with that once you go forward. If you're going to use your name, play around with maybe just using first or last, depending. Here's a monogram of another one. Using the letters. There's a symbol. Last one was sweet. A word mark. Monogram. Symbol. Word mark. Word mark. This one person did this a little different. Monogram is kind of cool. First and last name, letters, and symbol. Monogram. Just playing around with these different word marks, logo marks may give you some ideas too. So just maybe try these different variations. One more. All right, so I thought that was pretty good to share with you guys, just because it kind of gives you maybe some ideas of what to experiment with for your logo. If you're kind of 15 sketches is a lot, but I think kind of playing around with the different variations of logo marks will help. Yep, I can post the slides. Yep, for sure. Any questions about what I went over for the assignment 3? And you can set this up in a presentation like we did the first time, maybe create, because you're going to be doing this in Illustrator, And you can even do your written part in Illustrator too. You're just going to set it up nicely in the presentation. So maybe you can do 8 by 8 inches like layout. Let me see what your final project, I don't know if the specs changed or not. Let me see here. Okay, so it's going to be the same. So what we're going to do is we're probably going to just keep the 11 by 11 because you have the 6-inch logo that you're doing, kind of like we did before. So you can start it with the 11 by 11 layout, just, you know, if that helps in Illustrator. And then that way you won't have to change anything. 8 by 8. Mm-hmm. Okay. Is that what you did yours on 8 by 8? Okay, well you can keep that same, yeah, if that works for you, you can keep that. I wouldn't go any less than that. But yeah, so 8 by 8, if that works for you. The only layout that I would say it would be a little tighter is that variation of sizes. You're a little nervous about this. Why is that? I think it's, well, that's what your process steps are for, right? So go through those steps that I just showed you in the lecture that I went through, the whole, you know, write out what, you know, what your mission statement is. And then from there, you might even find keywords to do your adjective list. You don't have to show these in your process. You know, you don't have to submit this part, but that'll help you kind of start thinking of shapes, maybe symbols to go with it. So that's why your process steps exist, to help you go past the block, right? Or thinking that you don't have any ideas. Go see what other designers are doing. That's another thing. Be inspired by what other designers are doing out there. That's the first thing I usually do too. Look up graphic design logos, graphic designer logos. And some of them may be companies, some of them may be individuals, but just doing a search on different designers and how they create their logo. Some of them have like actual signatures with a monogram. Look at that one. Here's this one that has a monogram. It's a design company using the name. Here's one too, monogram. You know, see what's out there, how it looks, you know, kind of how to align yours based on your, you know, every designer is going to be pretty much your competitor, especially local designers. I mean, we do things online, so everybody's kind of our competitors when it comes to that. But, you know, there's some interesting logos here. Think about color, be inspired by, you know, things that you see. Here's freelance logos. Some of these might be, let's see here, freelance logo. Some of these might be, depending on the keyword search, might not be hitting the right keywords here. Logo mark. Firm. See, some of these are just going to be firms that created logo marks. So it's really the keywords that you put in there. Could I be considered a business if I'm just a freelancer? Yep. I actually, I have a lot of freelance design friends, and I actually have my own freelance business myself. Although I'm doing more teaching nowadays, so I'm kind of more towards the teaching aspect of it. But I just met up with a friend that I graduated with my when I graduated with my undergrad. She and I met up this weekend, and her husband, she worked for many ad agencies in Pittsburgh. And then her and her husband are they both met at an agency in Pittsburgh, and she just quit her job somewhere, forget where it was in Pittsburgh. He was working at home as a freelance designer, and now she's helping him out. And they have their own brand, and they work together. They have low overhead because they're working at home. So yeah, they definitely have a brand. They have a logo. They have a presence. They have their own identity. It doesn't mean that you obviously you can go beyond that and become more established, become like I think they are a .com, or I'm sorry, a corporation. They have a corporation with their name. You can be an LLC. So there's different types of established business that, depending on what your purpose is out there, you can establish yourself even more. So, but yeah, you definitely will be in need of a logo if you are a freelance designer. Any questions about that? As far as your sketches go, it should look very similar to this. This is showing 9 on a page. You're going to have 15. There you go. Yeah, definitely. That's how you start. And what's nice about that is you can create your own business cards and your website with that same corporate identity, same identity, digital identity, and start promoting yourself, in that regards, getting that logo out, that name out. Either it be a business card with your relation to your website, whatever you decide to create for your digital identity and your printed identity pieces. And it makes you look more professional and established when you do have that. So that's the pro of having something like that. Yep. Any questions about anything that we went over? I'm going to wrap it up today and see if you want to share anything, go over anything else. If not, we can kind of wrap it up early. I'm going to have a lot of time for you guys to share your work on Wednesday, since we don't really have, I'm not able to open up a discussion here. Wednesday is when we meet next. So I'll pretty much leave a lot of time open for you guys to share what you're working on, your logos, and we can give some feedback. Oh, also, I forgot to mention, don't forget your course media. You have week 3 information that's really important to what we're working on this week. So you have required readings. I forgot to go over this, my apologies. This will definitely help you too. The first article here is 10 Principles of Logo Design Masters. So you can kind of get some insight on some of the corporate brands and differentiate between effective and ineffective logo designs. Information website, Gestalt Principles. That's really interesting. I definitely check that out. Oh, yeah. Awesome. Yeah, and then lynda.com videos, your identity brand. If you're just sitting around drinking coffee and you have like 3 minutes, go ahead, pop open a lynda.com video. Even when you're cooking, even just listening to it, we'll give you some great supportive material to kind of start thinking and being inspired by things, understanding, being more aware of the topics that we're talking about this week that you can use for the discussion. Like here it talks about communication and social media, online presence, or overview. Remember how we were talking in the discussion, the digital identities? This is something that you can talk to your client about. graphic design tips and tricks, lessons of a counterintuitive logo makeover, Gestalt techniques. This is all great information. Oh, you're welcome. Like I said, I think Wednesday will be a good time for all of us to get together and start really giving each other good critiques. If you have time to come in on Wednesday, we'll be meeting around the same time. You know, take advantage of that time. Bring in your work. Let's critique what you have, and even if you're not fully done, we can kind of steer you, towards a certain concept or things to kind of look at or change. That's you pretty much make what your classes are like. When you come in here, you can put as much work as you want into this, the energy. You gain, you're pretty much I'm here to help you guys, but it's very self-driven too on your end. And I think that's why a lot of people either are for online classes or cannot do it. It's like they either excel and love it, or they hate it and they don't do it. So for those of you who have been really good at, passing your classes and going through this whole experience as an online designer, good for you, because that takes a lot of responsibility, self-drivenness. That's a great thing. It's a great thing to have. A lot of people can't do that. A lot of people can't do what you're doing. So pat yourselves on the back. Yes, it's a lot of work. So all this extra material is up for you guys to take advantage of. It doesn't mean, I can't tell if you went through here and looked at each of these articles. You don't have to necessarily click on all of them, but you gain as much as you want out of this class. It's almost like I always like to explain this, like a cruise ship. Have you ever went on a cruise before? You make it what you want it to be. You can not step one foot off of that cruise ship and do everything that you want on the cruise ship, or nothing at all. Yep. And you can enjoy it and learn. Or you can take excursions and do so much extra stuff and explore more things and do more things. You can get more out of it in regards to extra activities. So you make it what it is. Self-motivated, yep. Exactly. And that's why I always like to kind of point that out, because I have people who ask me, okay, how is it to be an online student? And it's definitely different. It's different than being in a classroom. There's pros and cons about everything, but you definitely have to you have to be responsible to be an online student. You have to be responsible to be a student even on ground, but I think once you're there in class, it's a little bit easier to get through certain things than it is online, just because you have a lot of different things in the mix when you're at home. Yes, good. You should be proud of yourself. You guys all should be very proud of yourselves for continuing your education. You will definitely not regret it. I didn't regret anything when I went back for my master's. I thought, ooh, here we go again. I have more student loans, but I don't regret anything because I have gained so much out of it. Not just the actual things that I learned, but when I came out of it, just everything that had happened, all the doors that opened, is amazing. All the people that I've met so far and things I've done. So, as long as you're continually growing and working, you have to work on it. Obviously, I just didn't graduate and get a job. I had to actually really work hard for it. But yeah, it's definitely a good thing. So stick with it, you guys. You should be proud of what you've done and put in what you want out of this. Okay? Oh, you did? Okay. Yeah, you might be considering going for your master's. Oh, that's nice. I know when I was when I got my master's, I got an MA. I didn't get the ultimate master's. MFA. I got my MA, but it would have taken me another 4 years to get my MFA. So I was like, I'm already older. I think I might be good with just an MA because I knew what I wanted to do ultimately. So I did it, and I'm good. So it's really up to you and what you decide to do. There you go. The mission statements will help you, even if right now as a student, write out a mission statement. These are your goals as a student. And then when you graduate, write another mission statement. I think that's a really good thing to do, because what happens is it gives you these small goals and things that you want to, do. And it really helps see the whole picture. Like, instead of being so overwhelmed with everything, it helps you, go towards these goals easier than being overwhelmed. Age should not be a thing. It's all mental. Yep. I am old too. Yep. Hey, you know what? It's definitely a number. I have definitely a big age range in a lot of my classes. It's great to see. It really is. I have parents that are in their 60s, 70s, and they always say, "Oh, I'm too old to do this." No. You can't tell me this, because some of my students are this age and they're actually changing their careers at this time, or kind of learning new things. Well, yeah, I'm saying my parents, but I always kind of bring that up. I think when you truly age is when you stop learning. I think that's when you really truly age. So, when you're not fully open to learning new things. So on that note, you guys all should be very proud of yourselves and pat yourselves on the back. Like I said, great job. Keep up the good work. Exactly. Yep. I truly believe that, Christina. Yep. Exactly, Tabra. Sometimes some people it's just your path, your journey. Everybody learns differently and matures differently, and different, you're in different experiences of life too. Some may have kids when you're younger. You might not have time, vice versa. So it's all in your own personal path and journey that you take. Or health, yeah. Freedom, Yep. So it's all very subjective, but it's funny how we can all come together too, in one spot for the same goals. And you guys inspire me. That's what I love about teaching. Like, I can give you guys my experiences, you guys give me your experiences. I get to see your progression, learn through you guys, different things. I've learned so much from teaching too, from you guys, and just from keeping up with everything. It's really, truly amazing. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Oh, after high school. I think after any type of milestone like that. That's okay. No, that's great to see your motivation, I love that. I love to see when students are like so excited they go above and beyond. I think that's great. Oh, thank you. Yeah, definitely send me anything that you're working on. I always like to see that. My heart is full. All right, you guys. I'm going to leave you with that. All positive inspiration and energy there. Hopefully I'll see you guys on Wednesday. And if not, we'll meet up sometime, or you can email me what you're working on, and I'll be okay. Sounds great. Uh-oh. That's the worst. Oh yeah, we've all been there, I think. Maybe not with leather, but all right, guys, you enjoy your day. I'll be talking to you soon, okay? You too. See you guys.